Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to start making a video, an instructional video, step by step on how to build my 15-foot long 6-bay rabbit cage without any wood at all. What you're going to need, and I know it only shows 3, but you're going to need 4 15-foot long 1-inch by 1-inch animal cage wire. Let me get you a close up here. It's 15 foot long. It's 1-inch by 1-inch mesh opening. It's 24 inches high. You're going to need 4 of them. I only had 3 because that's all they had at Lowe's. So I got to go back and get the 4th one. And you're going to need 2 of the 1/2-inch by 1-inch mesh opening that are 10 foot long and they're 30 inches high. The reason you're going to need 2 is because it's only 10 foot long and the cage is 15 feet. So you're going to have 5 extra feet. And I'll show you what to do with that. The 1-inch by 1-inch, that's going to make up both the sides and the top and the separators in between the cages. The 1-inch by 1/2-inch goes along the bottom of the cage, and it also goes up 3 inches all the way around the perimeter of the cage to keep any small babies from possibly falling out, because when they're really tiny they can fit through the inch by inch. So the 1-inch by 1/2-inch covers the bottom, and it's called a baby saver that goes around the edge. Now you're also going to need something to cut the wire with. I just used snips the first time. I may, when I go to Lowe's to get the 4th roll of the wire here, I may get a cutoff blade from my grinder and just use that, but this worked fine for me. It took a little longer, but I didn't care. To connect all the wire together, you're going to need a set of J-clamp pliers. And the reason they're called J-clamp pliers is because the little clamp that goes inside them, it looks like a J. Let's see if I'll focus on that. And it just fits inside these, and you squeeze it, and it turns this into a little round circle that clamps the wire together. I'll show you how that works in more detail when we get started. Now, that's all you're going to need: the J-clamps, the J-clamp pliers, something to cut it with, and 4 rolls of 1-inch by 1-inch and 2 rolls of the 1/2-inch by 1-inch. Now you may get lucky, you can make them smaller dimensions. This is just what you need to make it 15 foot long, 2 inches high, or 2 feet wide, 2 feet deep. And it's 2 by 2 by 2-ish. It's big enough for a rabbit. And this stuff, I kept the receipt here for you. Let's see here. The 1-inch by 1-inch was $16.48 per roll. So I paid $49.44 for these 3, and these 2 were $19.78 per roll, so it was $39.56 for the 2 of them. Now you will need to add another $16.48 when you go get the 4th roll. The J-clamp pliers, I want to say they were like $8 or $10, and this bag of J-clips was like 7 something at the hardware store. You're probably going to need 2 1-pound bags if you want to use a lot of clamps. I decided to use extra J-clamps on mine, more than was needed to really make it rigid, because I want my cages to be able to stay rigid and not hang in the middle, because I don't want to use any wood. Wood collects the urine and it stinks and it's nasty, and I want to do a true rabbit cage without any wood whatsoever, or at least if I do use wood, it's going to be maybe in the roof. That way, you know, they really can't get rabbit piss on it and make it stink. But you're looking at 50, 60, 70, 110. You're looking at clips, pliers and all, probably 130, maybe a little bit less, for the entire cage, and then the time it takes for you to build it. Now what I'm going to do, I don't have a fancy camera that I can hit record and spend, you know, a couple hours building this thing and then just show it and fast forward. I don't, even if I did, I wouldn't know how to do that. I'm not that tech savvy. It took me long enough just to figure out how to record on YouTube. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain a step, then I'm going to do a step, and I'll show you in a short little video. I'll explain some more, I'll do some more, and just kind of slowly bring you along step by step on how I'm going to build this cage. Now what I'm going to do, since it's beautiful outside, well, it's cloudy today, but by beautiful I mean it's very, very comfortable out here. It feels awesome. I'm going to build this cage outside instead of inside. That one I built inside, and I was able to bring it out. But I'm gonna build this cage right out here, and I got a feeling that I can just lay the wire across here, and I can do a whole bunch of clamping without having to get down on my hands and knees. So I will roll this wire out, and then I will bring you back for another portion of the video. Okay guys, the first thing you're gonna wanna do is you're going to want to roll your wire out and try to get it flat. And the way you do that is you unroll it backwards and you walk on it while you do it, and it helps really good. Watch. And as you roll, you just walk it out. You can see the wire is pretty stiff. Then turn these little edges up so it'll lay down flat. And then really just flatten your wire out just like that. Do it another time. Actually, you got to do it for every single roll, but I'll do one more roll and then we'll start hooking it together. Okay guys, now that I've got two 15-foot sections rolled out and somewhat flattened, I'm going to take my J-clamps and my J-clamp pliers, hang on, and the way these bad boys work is you just take the J-clamp and it sits right inside here, and you just give it a little bit of pressure and it holds it in there tight, and when you squeeze it, it just curves around and it makes a perfect little circle, and it bonds the two pieces of metal together that you're connecting. So I'm gonna hit pause, and I'm gonna go ahead and connect this middle section, then I'll roll out another one and connect the third section, and we'll start making this thing take shape. I'll be right back. Hey guys, wanted to bring you back and show you up close on how these J-clamps work. Once you get it hooked in there, you just pick where you want to hook the two wires together, and you squeeze it, and it rolls it right over. Boom, and that section is hooked. And as you can see, I'm skipping two, clamping, skip two, clamp, skip two, clamp. And these, don't worry, it'll line up. When I finish clamping it out, all these will line up, and I'll show you. I'll bring you back when I'm finished. I'm almost to the edge. Okay guys, so one side is hooked together. You can see, let me get a better view here. You can see it's completely, the seam is done all the way down. So now I've got two of the sides hooked together. Now I'm going to go along this side and hook the other piece to it. After that, we'll put the dividers and the end pieces in as soon as I go get another roll of 1 inch by 1 inch. Once the dividers and end pieces are in, we can put the bottom on, and we will be well on the way to having a rabbit cage. One thing to keep in mind, guys, if your hands are delicate, use gloves. These edges are sharp, number one, and you're really having to put some force over and over and over to squeeze these J-clamps in. So you're probably going to want to wear gloves if you're not used to really using your hands a lot. It will get It will get tedious. You will get tired. It isn't super easy, but by building this rabbit cage yourself versus paying somebody, you know, $500, $600, $700 for a custom rabbit cage, I mean, you're saving yourself $400 or $500 easily, because this is a monster cage when it's done. It'll hold 6 rabbits. It's going to be identical to the one outside that I have my rabbits in right now. And then I'm going to actually build another one to hold. This one will have 6. The next one I build is going to be the same size, but it's going to have 3 double-sized cages. And that's where I'm going to put the baby rabbits once they reach 7 weeks old. And I put them in there to grow out until they're processed. But on to the next piece. I'm going to hook it up, and I will bring you guys back and keep you updated. Buddy, you want to say goodbye? Buddy, say goodbye. So I'll see you in a minute. Bye-bye. Hey guys, I'm clipping in the 3rd side. Actually, it's the bottom, or the top and 2 sides, because the bottom is the 1 inch by 1/2 inch. I'm going to show you a little technique I use instead of having to be on my hands and knees on this concrete. I know earlier I said I was going to do it outside, but it keeps starting to rain on and off, so I decided to build it in here. But I'm going to show you how I make use of one of my buckets full of rice. I just sit down, I take the wire, put it here on my lap. This way I can kind of bend it and twist it and make it fit. Take one of my J-clamps, put it in the pliers, a little pressure to hold it still. 1, 2, 3, I count over to my 3rd loop. Then I use my knees for pressure, and I hook it. Then I go on to the next one. 1, 2, 3. Hook it. 1, 2, 3. Hook it. That's my little technique of doing it instead of having to be on my hands and knees. My last name's not Harris, so I'm not really good with knee pads. So I'm going to finish this up, and then I'll bring you back for the next step. Hey guys, welcome back. I've got both the sides and the top joined together. All that's left is to put the dividers in, the 2 end pieces, and the top. The bottom. I have the wire for the bottom, but I have to go to Lowe's now and get another wire, another roll of the 1 inch by 1 inch, because they were out when I got this stuff the other day. Hopefully they have my roll in today, but I'll show you what it looks like with the 3 sides done. You've got booyah! This side's hooked. This side's hooked. So now we have, and now the dividers will go every couple of feet down the middle, and then I'll put the 2 end pieces on, and it'll start to get rigid, and then when I put the bottom on, we'll have the makings of a good cage. Alright, so guys, stay tuned. I'm going to go to Lowe's and get another roll of wire and some more J-clamps and continue this build. Thanks for staying with me. Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. I just got back from a run to Lowe's to get the other wire, the other roll of the 1 inch by 1 inch. What you're going to do is you're going to roll it out flat just like I did the other 3 rolls, okay? Once you get it rolled out flat, you're going to cut it into 2-foot sections. You're going to have enough, because it's a 15-foot roll. You're going to have enough exactly for what you need, which is 7 2-foot sections. That's 5 dividers, and that's 2 end pieces, which will complete the cage, and that's all you have left over, a little 1-foot section. So you cut it into 5 2-foot by 2-foot sections. That's what's going to separate the cage into 6 separate cages, and then you'll have a piece for each end. So now I'm going to attach the 2 end pieces and the cage dividers, and then I will come back and show you how it looks. Okay guys, welcome back to the rabbit cage build. once you cut the 2-foot sections for your separators and your end pieces, you've got these little tabs left over on the end, so you've got to snip those off. You can either, if you have a cutoff tool, a cutoff wheel on a grinder, you can cut them off and then grind them down smooth when you're done snipping them off, or you can just build the cage completely. That's what I'm doing. I'm just going to completely build the cage, and then I'm going to come back with the grinder and all the little sharp edges around the corners and the sides that can cut you, like around the door and all the feeding areas. I'm going to come back with a grinder and grind all this down smooth because these are really, really sharp. But you got to go ahead and cut all these little nipples off of all of them, and then we'll start clamping them together. Okay, now I've got my first end piece. I've got it secured at that corner, and then I secured it down here at the bottom corner. Now I'm going to go ahead and tack it along the bottom, along the side. Then I'm going to bring, then I'm actually going to go into the next one. I'm going to do all the dividers in both ends and hook them all to this side. And then I'll bring this side up and secure them all. That way it's easier. If you try to do this side now, it's flopping and it makes it harder to keep it all together. So it's best to just do one end piece, secure it completely all the way around all the sides. Then do your next one, secure it on the bottom and that side. The next one, the bottom and the side. So what's going to happen is you're going to have this side piece and the bottom are going to be secured with all the dividers. Then all you got to do is take this piece, roll it up, and then secure it, and then it's going to be really good and secure, and then you just put the bottom on the thing. All right, here you can see I've got the one end piece down one side and across the bottom secured, leaving this side here laying flat on the ground. Now I'm going to go and measure off and put the dividers in and the other end piece, and I'll bring you right back. Hey guys, it's also a good idea. All right, these wires, the roll of wires says 15 feet, but it's actually a little bit more than 15 feet, which is good. So what I'm doing is I'm counting from one end, I'm counting over 30 inches, because 15 feet divided by 30 inches, or divided by 6 is 30 inches each. So the cages will be 30 inches wide, 2 foot deep, 2 foot high, which is plenty enough for a rabbit. So these 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are 30 inches. The one on the end is going to be about 36 inches because the rolls are a little bit longer than 15 feet. And this cage on the end is going to be for the buck because he's going to be the big guy, so I'm going to give him a little bit more room. But it's a good idea to go ahead and take a piece of tape and mark your sections. That way when you're clamping, you don't accidentally get offline and end up making your dividers a little bit crooked. It's easier this way if you go ahead and mark them. That way you know exactly how big they are and where you need to start clamping. Okay, because all these grids in your eyes, you get kind of crossed up and you'll make mistakes, and you got to go back and try to cut these J-clips off, and that's a pain in the butt. All right, I'll be back. Guys, another easy tip for you is to take your divider and find your spot, and then just line it up like this and just lay it up against the back wall, and then you can just push it over and you can just run your clip straight down it like I did on this one. I just went ahead and just clipped it straight down so this pivots over. So when I'm ready to pivot them all this way, my box is already made. I just got to flip this side up and hook them. But it's a trial and error thing. You'll figure out what system works for you best. It works for me best this way. Okay guys, I've got both end pieces and all dividers in place and secured to the back. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 total cages, 7 dividers. Now I'm going to fold this piece up and I'm going to secure it to the edges. I'm going to secure this side to this. I'm going to fold this up and secure it here. Once I have it completely secured, then I am going to flip it over and secure the bottom when it's upside down. Then I'll flip it back over and I'll secure the 1 inch by 1/2 inch. So stay tuned. Okay guys, now I've got the dividers in both ends completely secure down both sides. As you can see, all the way down, I have 6 very uniform, very nice separate cages. Now the part that's missing here on the top, this isn't the top, this is actually the bottom, but it's the smaller wire, and I'm going to do it last because it's a little bit tricky. What I'm going to do now is flip it over and secure the bottom of the cage dividers, because right now I just got the two sides done, but I'm gonna flip it over and do the bottom. Okay guys, I've just clamped all of them on the bottom. Or actually, it's actually the top. Now I gotta flip it over to get to the bottom to put the 1 by 1/2 inch wire on. It's a little bit tougher to clamp, and I'll show you why. But it is doable. You just really gotta be willing to try to finagle the wire a little bit, maybe bend it a little bit to get it to fit. But we're getting close to having a cage. Won't be too much longer.